Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We have a small and lively crew here in the room today. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, wherever you are on this planet this morning, wherever your thoughts are taking you today, wherever your heart is landing, whatever your heart is holding this morning, and whatever is leading you to this moment today. Welcome, all of us, to this edition, this version of the Unitarian Universalist community of the mountains, which recreates itself every time we gather. I'm the Reverend Kevin Tarsa. For those who don't know me, I am here with Grace Kendrick, who's our worship associate this morning, and Siobhan and Steve and Andy and Beth Caro online, helping folks online, as we begin a month-long journey with the theme of widening the circle, this idea of widening the circle in our lives. And I want to let you know that this morning we're participating in an out-of-the-ordinary service and an extra-wide circle with Unitarian Universalists from throughout the western third of the United States, from what is known as the Pacific Western region of our Association of Congregations. Here's what it looks like. It's a big region. It's that turquoise on the left. And I didn't even have to try to remember to say contiguous United States because our region includes Alaska and Hawaii. As we enter this shared time, it will be helpful to know that this morning's metaphor of weaving waters together arises because there are 4 different districts in this region who are all merging. Districts with different histories and different resources and different people. And they're in the process of letting go of their separate identities and becoming one large shared region for a variety of reasons, which is no small thing. To release one identity for the sake of another larger one. So it has me thoughtful about the importance of each person, of you, of me, of each of us bringing our full, unique selves to a community like this one. Even as we search for enough similarity, enough in common, enough meaningful points of connection to have this sense of shared identity too, to know ourselves as an integral part of one full community. So with the metaphor of flowing waters, waters flowing together as our guide, and the symbols of stones and salt and sand and seed, as symbols of uniqueness, with our hearts and our hopes here, right now, at the ready, let's join in.
I see you and hold you in love on this day. I see you and hold you in love on this day. There's no need for you to worry in a lonely kind of way. Let our hearts be unburied as we shout and celebrate that you see me and hold me in love on this day. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. I see you and hold you in love on this day. On this day. I see you and hold you in love on this day. On this day. We are lifted up. we are lifted up together. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your sorrow. Whoa, whoa, let me hold your joyful song. I see you, hold you in love on this day. On this day, I see you and hold you in love on this day. On this day. Let me hold you now. Let me hold you. Let me hold. Let me hold. Oh, oh, oh. I see you and hold you in love on this day.
Hello, and welcome to the 2022 Pacific Western's Unitarian Universalist Regional Assembly. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge that San Diego, the geographic site of this event, is located on the unceded ancestral lands of the Kumeyaay people. This is the land that has been inextricably tied to their way of life, well-being, and spiritual identity for countless centuries. The Kumeyaay way of life is one in relationship with the forces of nature, in harmony with the cycles of the sky. As attendees at PWR Regional Assembly, we will honor this legacy. We encourage all attendees to take action to be in a deeper relationship with the Kumeyaay and also with the indigenous tribes near you. To learn more and begin, we urge you to go to www.kumeyaay.com. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to this place. We come from the water, we come from the land. Inside of us is a longing to be with those who understand us and who love us unconditionally. Welcome. Welcome to this space. Your presence here matters. You matter. Your dreams, your lives, your experiences matter. Welcome. I welcome you from the heritage of my ancestors who dreamed me into being, from the ancestral lands of Iraq, where the Garden of Eden resides, that piece of heaven on earth, which became our model for love made real, where the two rivers meet, the Tigris, the Euphrates, feeding the world with life-giving, healing waters, creating a vision of what could be when rivers meet and mix and nourish and heal. Welcome, beloveds. We come from the water. We come from the land. We come from the dreams of our ancestors. Welcome. You are welcome here. You are always welcome here because you are loved and you embody love. And together we create the beloved community. So welcome, beloveds. Welcome to worship. Welcome home.
Our chalice lighting today is entitled The Spirit of Water by Katie Gelfand. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion. We reunite in this sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water, its many forms, and its life-giving essence.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with the vision, clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts go restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Blessed Spirit of my life, Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done for me, let love be my legacy. Blessed Spirit of my life. Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah. Blessed Spirit of my life.
I love the cello in the snow. Mountains in the background, as well as the music. We're about to receive from these representatives that represent the 4 different districts of this wide region that are gathering together in the process of merging. For those who joined since we started, we'll show a map in a moment of this giant region that is our Pacific Western region for the Unitarian Universalist Association. The merger comes, really, the joining, in order to manifest our UU values and our Unitarian Universalist commitments more fully and more sustainably. You'll hear a little bit about that. So here come some more of the representatives of this area, these 4 districts, in part 1 of what they call a set of parables. They invite us first to reflect.
Some time ago, long enough to be called history, but not so long ago that it isn't remembered, the diverse and far-flung peoples of the Western states were ready to unite for the common good. Through a miracle, some say by divine mystery, and still others through the action of human hands, 4 great rivers sprang up to fill this need. Not only were they rivers of water, but of the love and wisdom needed to spread life-saving ministry to the whole of the West. One river sprang from the high mountains, cold and clear, determined to flow to all who needed it. Another rushed in the north, feeding green and lush forests and nurturing the young that grew there. The third ran in great central cities and carried people to those they loved and information to all that would ask. Finally, the fourth sprang up in the deserts of the south, demanding freedom to shimmer like diamonds and welcome all who asked. This worked for many years, but as the world seemed to grow smaller, the rivers grew lonely and wished to have the gifts of the others. With great effort, the four rivers joined to reflect and plan to unite.
I am the cold, clear water of the fallen snow. From the high peaks of Mount Evans and Mount Walter, the rushing spring waters of Pikes and Wheeler Peaks feed Mirror Lakes and quench the thirst of people miles away. Waters join me from the great spine of the earth. Said to divide, but much more, I connect. I gather waters of all types along my course and believe all their powerful voices should be heard from the mountaintop to the sanctuaries below. I ask young and old to quest for knowledge and spirit in my quiet forests, windy plains, high deserts, and my bustling cities. I am patient in the dry times, waiting for water to come to me again.
Joining the confluence is the river from the desert southwest. Rivers which are generally swallowed up by the sands of the desert, hidden but still feeding the abundant plant, animal, and spirit life which dwells here. Water is such a precious, rare gift that we dance in the summer monsoons and send songs and prayers of thanks when it rains. The most common conversation topic is, did it rain on your side of town today? What we are really asking is, are you healthy, whole, fed, and sheltered? How is it with your heart? From this tension of drought and flood emerges our communities and all of our diversity. The human-made wonders of Las Vegas and Los Angeles, Phoenix and Santa Barbara, the natural wonders of the Grand Canyon and Death Valley, the Pacific Ocean with its rocky beaches in San Diego, and the sandy beaches of Arizona and Nevada with no ocean to be found. We find community with and in nature, hiking the Saguaro National Park, retreating at Camp de Benneville Pines, or escaping the summer heat on our mountaintops. And we worship together, UUs, Christians, pagans, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, many more, and many unnamed. We seek to embrace the theological call to justice through feeding our neighbors, petitioning legislators, attending local, state, and national political proceedings, teaching our young people how to use their voices for justice, and, importantly, placing water in the desert that will literally save lives. And no matter what part of the Southwest we call home, we all come together over sharing music, laughter, and love, because we know we are stronger together.
Rushing past Douglas Fir and glacial boulders, the Pacific Northwest flows out of the Columbia River as the volcanoes of the Ring of Fire look past the gray skies and gentle rain, keeping watch over Portland and Seattle, Anchorage and Boise, and all our populations. Our water is abundant, yet fragile and precious. Along with other resources of timber and rock, fish and farm, our diversity strengthens us. From Boeing to Microsoft, immigrant farm workers to seventh-generation lumberjacks, leading in technology, living wages, education, and medicine, just as we struggle to right the severe wrongs of our past and present. Japanese American concentration camps, the the unceded lands of indigenous peoples, our redlined cities, our lack of affordable housing. Our communities ask the question, how may we be better stewards to the earth and family, to our siblings? How far can we bend the arc of justice? Theists and atheists, somes and nones, we worship together in celebration of what could be a united humanity.
I am the snowy hillsides on the mountain tops in Lake Tahoe. As the weather warms, I melt into the streams and babbling brooks below. I am the Truckee River flowing from California to Nevada. I am the clear blue ocean waters washing ashore on the islands of Hawaii. The fresh smell of salinity blows through the warm air. I am the tall redwood trees in Humboldt County and in Santa Cruz. The forest smells faintly of spice with earthy undertones, and just a touch of sweetness hangs in the air. These are sacred lands where both roots and ocean coexist side by side. I am the San Francisco Bay, where there is often a beloved chill in the air. The Golden Gate Bridge is ever glowing in the distance. I am the Sacramento River, flowing through the heart of California, a flowing connection between both north and south. I am Napa Valley, where waters run through every beloved grapevine. Here, the air is warm and the energy is calm. I am the Oakland and Berkeley Hills, glancing out at the Pacific Ocean, feeling the cool breeze in the air as the sun sets on the horizon. Though my climate is varied and the distance is vast, I am part of an interconnected whole.
You could tell that was the district we're part of, right? Those are our waters, even the Hawaii waters. Hawaii is part of our district. It's now all part of this region. In the regional events around this whole part of the country this morning, waters are being poured into shared bowls to represent those 4 different districts that are merging. Here among us, Michelle, Jenny, Penny, and Claire, thank you, will be pouring water in a few moments into the bowl that holds our joys and sorrows, those stones that we'll put in this morning. As always, this is a symbol of this community, in which we hold one another in as much love and care as we can find in ourselves. And the bowl and the water are also a symbol for all that holds us in much deeper and more enduring ways. Those most deep and most enduring senses of love or God, hope, spirit, mystery, universe, peace. The reformer Martin Luther wrote that, "I have held many things in my hands, and I have lost them all. But whatever I have placed in God's hands, that I still possess." Whether your life experience has led you toward a felt sense of God or toward trust in another steward of your pain as well as your hope. With each pouring of these particular waters here this morning, or you're pouring at home into the bowl of water that you have, I invite you to pour into the container your care, your compassion, and to pour in what your life tells you holds us all. I would invite the 4 of you to come and one at a time to pour some water into the bowl. Thank you, each of you. And I invite us in this ritual we undertake each week to search our hearts for a moment for all that's moving there, that most grabs us right now, that's our sense of joy or sorrow or worry or elation or concern. It's most present. And those at home, I invite you, if you have a stone with that bowl of water, to place your stone in that bowl, to know that you are held with all that you carry. The people in the room, I invite you, if you wish, to come forward and to take a stone or as many stones as match what you hold, to place them into this bowl that holds all of us. People online, I invite you to type some of the joys and sorrows that you hold into the chat. I will not be reading them this morning as we might normally do, but we will be looking for them afterward, and you'll have a chance to share with each other in this moment. In the music, I invite us to search our hearts, to settle into our own introspection and thoughtfulness and prayerfulness, and if you wish to come, take a stone and to place it in the bowl.
Finding my way, finding my way, finding my way, finding my way, finding my way back home. Finding my way, 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 finding my way back home. Oh, river, I hear you, feel you calling.
I've placed stones for all the rest that we hold. And Grace has lit candles. Each week we remember and honor the losses that come with COVID. 125 deaths now in Nevada County, 80,000 in California, over 900,000 now in the United States, and nearing 6 million worldwide. For these and all else that we hold, May we listen into our hearts for what we hear there, what our hearts, what love asks us to do. So may we be.
Will you pray with me? Go to Tougaloo, the meeting place of two rivers, and be quiet, Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs writes. Wait for the light that floats above the water where Pearl meets Mississippi, and step in it. If you are too afraid to trust the light, to know yourself as more than one river, you will never know. Step in when you are ready. Dr. Gumbs writes these words in Two Rivers, sharing an extraordinary poem about synergy and sacrifice, activism and salvation. In this lovely literary piece, Dr. Gumbs weaves a story of Audre Lorde's transformation from a librarian into a poet and a justice advocate, binding it to tales of Fannie Lou Hamer's accomplishments on behalf of impoverished and excluded Black folk in Sunflower County, Mississippi, upon the backdrop and imagery of two powerful rivers joining, coming together in Tougaloo. She continues, let your hands lead you to what you want, which is the writing under shore, raised like braille, so you have to touch it first to know it. Touch that part of yourself that is current and running and flooding at exactly this time, and continue to breathe. Will you breathe with me? Have you touched the writing under the shore? I share this piece by Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs with reverence and humility. The reverence before a sacred text. With humility, acknowledging that these stories, told with exquisite beauty and artfulness, are not my own. Within are stories of struggles and pain that no one should know, and yet so many marginalized folk do. I share these stories with reverence and humility because they are stories of joy and triumph in the face of human selfishness and evil. They are chronicling what is possible when mighty things converge, meld, and in so doing, create something nascent that is both wonderful and beautiful, something truly unique. Friends, we have been changed and we have been charged. This awful pandemic has seismically shifted every landscape under which our feet sit, both literally and metaphorically. And we have been challenged to join our resources, our respective rivers, and regionalize by a group of esteemed UU leaders representing every corner of our country. The Commission on Institutional Change has spoken. In their report, Widening the Circle of Concern, these leaders speak. Governance within the association needs streamlining as outdated and duplicative structures exist. The unnecessary complexity of the current Unitarian Universalist governance structures is biased toward the more privileged. With our current system within the West, we have areas with haves and sadly, areas with have-nots. By regionalizing and joining the full force of our waters, our gifts, we are more able to dispense a broader pool of resources to congregations and communities who've traditionally been underserved and underrepresented in decision-making. Let's interweave so that we can be closer and more closely support those who need it most. Can I get an amen? Amen. I wouldn't call it a coincidence, but isn't it interesting, given our reading, that it has been a thoughtful and wise minister from the great state of Mississippi who has championed bringing our waters, these rivers together, the districts in the Pacific Western region. Reverend Carlton Elliott Smith has held cottage and board meetings, spent countless hours listening and dialoguing with folk, assuaging fears, building trust, investing in relationships, championing this just cause. Dr. Gumbs writes, "When two rivers meet, it is a ceremony, a delegation for only those who have reshaped land with their cleansing. The meeting of two rivers is surrender. It births civilizations and swallows them back. This is why you came to Tougaloo, the meeting point of two rivers, with your question. What are you willing to surrender for the greater good? Today, in person in San Diego or virtually, and in home and hamlet, we hold our own embodied ceremonies, pouring as one our waters, each with their own life-giving properties and components. Yet as we ritualize this confluence, what is our question? The poem in our hearts, our prayer. As these rivers coalesce and intermingle, what is your blessing for this new waterway emergent? For a final instance, I'll call forth the excellent acuity of Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs. All I can say from here is that you gotta let yourself be a meeting place of rivers. Trust yourself as light. Believe that you can float, and then let go. May we both trust and let go. May it be so. Blessings to you all.
Let yourself be a meeting place of rivers. Return now to the salt, the sand, the seed. If you have salt at home, and whether you do this in reality or in your mind's eye, I invite you to take a tiny pinch of the salt. We'll do one at a time. Tiny pinch of the salt. If you're at home, you might taste it on the tip of your tongue, the zing. And remember that this water needs the saltiness of your tears of unbearable heartache, as well as your tears of unbearable joy. Remember that this water welcomes the saltiness of your sweat, too, whether drawn forth by strenuous labors of love and commitment, or the unwelcome heat of a world on fire, or the sweat that comes with fear that speaks to the rest of our bodies long before it speaks to our head. Bring the saltiness of your tears, your sweat, your life to this shared water. The sand. I invite you to take a pinch of sand, hold it between your fingers. Feel the resilient grit in your mind's eye, if not in the actual hand. Feel that resilient grit of sand, abrasive, insistent, irksome when isolated and so close in, and so seemingly soft when abundant and dry on a restful beach, the living edge of land and ocean. The translucent fragments finely ground from the abandoned shells and once larger stones of our lives, those remnants of what was, worn by the waves of time, waves of grief, waves of simply living the next moment, the next moment, the next moment, the next moment. Bring the gift, the grit the pieces of your life, those translucent fragments of your life to this shared water. And a seed, if you have a seed at home, imagine in your mind eyes, take a seed, hold it, feel its texture, its shape, its color, maybe its smell even. Redwood, bean, radish, apple, lemon, avocado, mustard. Miraculous vessel of so much more than its skin reveals. A seed you've held for much of your life, or a seed you've just found recently. I invite you to hold it to your forehead, maybe, just above your eyes. What do you see in it from there? What vision is conjured in the touch? What new life, new growth, new possibilities come into view? Bring the seeds of your life, the ready, waiting, longing seeds, to this shared water. The shared water that becomes community in the sharing, that holds our joys and our sorrows, that holds us in the larger love that holds us all.
Notice the stone, the seed, the sand, and remember the salt. All of these objects now activated with your prayers and intentions, resting harmoniously within the now combined waters of these 4 different waters, now one. Take your hand and dip it in the water. Give your fingers a moment to play and wiggle in the water. Let the droplets cascade down and between digits. Bring a few of those droplets to your forehead. Feel the cool freshness. Let any tension or worry be washed away by the briskness of these combined blessed waters, now blessing you. Go forth, renewed.
The 4 waters had been woven together. Each strand, different in its own right, still remained, but created something new. From the many waters, there is a unity that makes us one. Together, the rivers rejoiced at their renewal and could feel the power in sharing what they had and the future that lay before them.
This last monsoon season in Tucson, Arizona began slowly. One drop, which could easily be ignored as a hope, a wish or a prayer for rain in the middle of a very dry season. But as one drop attached to one drop, attached to one drop, attached to one drop, we could no longer ignore the truth and the power of normally dry creek beds overflowing with raging waters, altering our landscapes, devastating some and fueling others. May our regional coming together be a tidal wave of love, justice, and faith for this world.
I haven't always felt welcome. The way I flow was just not really accepted in places I had been before. And believe me, I tried to go the same direction as those around me, but it just always felt like I was going against the current. Okay, no more water puns, I promise. I just can't help myself. When I found Unitarian Universalism, it felt like I finally found a spiritual community that I had been missing before. I found friends and taught camps full of people that didn't mind who I was or who I loved. Now, we have a great opportunity to make our community even bigger and accept even more in. With great joy, we can make sure that everyone in our region is heard and has what they need to the best of our abilities. I see that blending to be a great gift. One that will be exciting to open the floodgates on and see where it flows. I lied, I had to do one more.
I feel the winds blowing down from the Pacific Northwest. I feel the sunshine and warmth rising from the Pacific Southwest. We are interconnected by our rivers and streams that pour into and take from the very same ocean. Standing on the shore of Hawaii, with my feet in the sand and ocean waves washing over me, I feel connected to my siblings along the coast of Washington, Oregon, and California. After a storm has passed on a clear day in spring, I stand on top of Mount Diablo in the San Francisco Bay Area. I can see 200 miles around me. I see the waters that connect us and feel the winds that blow between us. I see the rolling hills and the trees, an interconnected landscape of life.
The Pacific Northwest embraces our sibling rivers, recognizing ourselves in all of the others. The sand of the Southwest, the rocks of the mountains, salt from the ocean, our faith resonates with our siblings' faith. And we gain from their hard work with immigration, anti-racism, social justice, economic equity, and environmental sustainability. Your wisdom will be our wisdom, and our wisdom will be yours. We will learn from the heat of the desert, the wind across the Rockies, the fertile hills of the Central Valley, and the golden sunsets of the Pacific, all powering our new life together. We do not face the future alone. We are one powerful river.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains,
Our offering this morning supports not only the congregation, but also Care Crisis Nursery, which does, hang on, Grace, just a sec, supports families that are facing challenging situations and supports the young people in particular. So here are some ways that you can give. By text to 833-579-0483, or to go to our website, uugrassvalley.org. There's a PayPal account at paypal.me/UUCM, or by mailing a check to the congregation at 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California, 95945. For PayPal and checks, you have a chance to designate whether that's for your pledge, whether that's for this mixing of congregation and Care Crisis Nursery. Thanks for your generosity throughout the existence of the congregation, especially during the pandemic times. Your generosity has been wonderful and especially helpful to help us continue to do the work. Let us dedicate these. Oh, I should name that this month for Care Crisis Nursery, as well as money, we're also collecting Kleenex, toilet paper, paper towels, batteries, juice, 100% juice, and string cheese. So during this month, on weekdays from 9 to noon, you can drop those off here at the congregation or bring them on Sundays. And then the last Sunday of the month, we'll make a particular offering to gather those all together and then share them with Care Crisis Nursery. For all those that are to come on these today, let us dedicate them to the well-being of the young people in our community, to our ability to become an ever more compassionate, caring, justice-graced, and loving community. Thank you.
Our waters have been woven together. A mixture like ours is both mundane and a miracle. Go out and flow into the world with the grace and the power of the waters that you possess. May it be so.
Here's the fire-safe candle, which we can appreciate, right? In a moment, Grace will extinguish this chalice, but I invite us to share in the community benediction that reminds us that we're not alone, especially in these times. So this is a ritual the congregation has been saying together for a number of years. Together, let us carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. So may we be. Thank you, Grace, for being worship associate this morning. To Beth Caro for being online so beautifully all the time. Siobhan, above and beyond, to help move cameras around for this new setting today. Andy and Steve on sound, thank you. Thanks to Shanti for a beautiful setting that's spread around the room today. And I love, somebody mentioned in the chat, they love the name Crispy Watkins. It is a fun name, isn't it? So, and to all those in the region who participated and prepared those pieces for us, we offer our gratitude and thanks.
Finding my way, 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 finding my way back home.